What's up, everybody? Hey, this is Phil from Walmart Right Lane Trucking coming at you. Hey, I apologize. I did not film last night. That was Tuesday night. I got to where I overnighted. I'll tell you where I overnighted, but I just got in the back and just kind of laid down, watched a little bit of YouTube, um, and then was falling asleep. Went to sleep. So I did not film at all yesterday. So let me catch you up on yesterday and then I'll run through today real quick. So I left you, I was in Susanville. I overnighted at the store, in the back of the store there in Susanville. So when I woke up in the morning, there was a driver that had just backed up to the dock and was getting ready to go in. I took it upon myself at that point to take a shortcut and follow him in so I could use the restroom. Then I went back out and got in the tractor. Now, where I was parked, I was not going to be able to put on the chains. I hadn't put on the chains from Reno to Susanville. It was pretty clear. Most of it, there were some patches of ice, but it wasn't bad that I needed to put on the chains. So I didn't put on the chains until the morning. And so I had to pull out of the spot I was in and then find another spot. So that spot I wanted to park at, that driver obviously had already left. So I was able to pull around and start putting my chains on there. There was another driver there also overnighted. He only had minimum chains on and he was heading the same direction I was, so he went ahead and added the other two sets of chains to his tractor so that he had max chains on. So as I'm draping the chains and everything else, there's an SUV pulls up behind me, and it was the chain crew or chain guy. He's out there to assist drivers that need help with chaining. And at that point, I was already pretty much draped on all of them. And I told him, you know what, I'm good. If you want to just go find somebody else that needs some help, you can go ahead and do so. And thanked him for his offer, and off he went. So that's a pretty cool feature that Walmart does. They do send us the information, the person's name and phone number, so we can contact them if we do need help, or we're just trying to speed up the process and we want to get in and out real quick. So that's a pretty cool feature. So I went and I got on the road, went up the hill and heading on Highway 36. Highway 36 turns into, or you have to make a right turn, and then you take 44 north. 44 north was snowy, was ice and snow, mostly snowpack and ice. Beautiful drive. And so I was going, and it's always, you always hate to see this, is I saw a big rig on its side, turned over, off the road. It was far enough off the road and everything, but it was on its side. And it was a contract carrier that was doing a dedicated route for Walmart. And I don't know what the circumstances were. All I know is that he was off to the side of the road, literally on its side. Passenger side. And I think everybody was okay. But it's a pretty flat area there. So my only guess is he got distracted. Or he or she got distracted, and then lost control, and went into the snowbank and just tipped over. So you got to be careful in the snow, guys. Gotta. You can't take your eyes off of it for a second. So from there, I just kept going. 44 comes down this very steep grade, and they've done a really good job of maintaining that grade so that it doesn't have any ice or even snow on it. It's a little wet, but it's not anything icy or snowy, and which is good because it's a pretty steep downgrade, and the sides are, it can make you pucker if you've never driven it before, because very few guardrails and huge drop off if you go off the side. So you got to be careful on that road. Once you come down that, then you make a right turn onto 89. 89 will then curve around and continue heading north. And then once you get to the stop sign, because there's only one stop sign at that point, that's 299. It's the interchange of 299 and 89. You hang a left and go towards Bernie, and up and over, and then down in and around 299. That's like once you get up and over the grade and down in there, it's like a warm up. If you were going to continue on to, say, Crescent City or something, or Eureka, that stretch between Bernie and I-5 is just like a warm up, and because it's a lot of twisting back and forth, narrow roads, and you've seen my videos on the journey to Crescent City, and it's a long journey to Crescent City. So this little part of 299 is just like a warm-up to it. So if you're heading that way, you've got your warm-up, then you get a breather, and then you're back in it again on the west side of I-5. Once you get up the hill a little bit, you start getting into it. So, but I was heading to Sac. They gave me a load that was going to Sac, and I was just gonna drop it off there. So I got to Sac right at the time I said I was going to, and I hadn't got a dispatch yet, and I got a hold of the office there, and then the Rock, and sure enough, lucky for me, they said, you know what, we got another load that needs to go to McCarran. All right, so mind you, this other load needed to go to McCarran, and the first load I took on the southern route, that was a Quaker beverage, so it was a beverage, kind of heavy load. Now this one was a water load, so another heavy load. This one is a little bit heavier than the other one, and it's a dry van. So I-80 kind of opened up a little bit on Tuesday to traffic and to reefers that are loaded. Well, I'm hauling a dry van that got water in it, so it's grocery, but it's not a reefer, and they wouldn't have let me through. So now I have to take the northern route back over to the McCarran. So I get going, and I'm thinking, okay, well, how far am I going to get? How far do I want to try to go? And I decided, you know what? I'm just going to get up towards Red Bluff, in between Red Bluff and Redding. Maybe into Redding, maybe. But I decided to stop at a rest area between Red Bluff and Redding, and overnighted there. Got up this morning, got going, and looking at the chain controls, and listening to the radio, there were chain controls in place on 299, and it just seemed it cleared up enough. They had the snow plows going. They've actually been maintaining 299 pretty well, and wasn't needed there yet. But I ended up chaining up just outside of Boerne, outside of Boerne, on the way to 89. And as I was doing it, another driver, bless his heart, came in and he wanted to tell me, hey, you don't need to chain up right here. It's pretty dry and pretty clear all the way to 44. But by the time he told me this, I already had three chains already draped, and I was working on my fourth chain on the passenger side. And I really considered stopping, taking those chains off, because I hadn't rolled them yet. They're just draped over the tires. Taking them off and heading up to the junction between 44 and 89, and there's a spot there to chain up. Well, I made a decision to just continue chaining. So I finished the chaining and I got going. Well, obviously that's going to slow me down on dry pavement, especially unless you just want to eat through your chains. So I got going pretty good. So, most of the way from 89 or 299, and then finally one Walmart driver got behind me. Then another Walmart driver got behind him, and I'm feeling like crap because I'm holding them up because it's dry. The pavement, well, it's not dry, but it had no snow or ice on it, and I'm thinking, God, I'm just holding these guys up. I feel bad, and so I want to say about 3 miles or so outside of that intersection, it got snowy and icy, and there were some uphills, and I'm heavy. Imagine if I didn't have those chains on. I hate to think, but I might have made it. I don't know, but I kind of felt a little bit better that it got a little snowy and icy before that intersection. Then we made the turn. It's a left turn, and I'm leading the way. And this was my concern, is that there's not a lot of room there. And how many other trucks are going to be there putting their chains on? And will I be able to get in there and put my chains on? Sure enough, I make the turn. Before I made the turn, I saw 2 UPS trucks turning left, heading on 89 going west, I guess west, south, whatever the other direction was. And then I made my turn. 1, 2, 3 trucks on the right, 1, 2 trucks on the left. Not a whole lot of room there. And so I already had my chains on. That was the good thing. I already had my chains on. So made the turn and just kept on going, waved at the other guys, and I kind of had my window down, and I could hear them. There's two drivers out of their unit. One of them a Walmart driver. I don't know who the other gentleman was, but he put his chains on early. Yep, I did, and I just kept going, and I got up and kept going. So I never saw those other 2 Walmart guys after that, because obviously they had to stop, put their chains on. And then once you get over towards 36, that's where the road got real good, and you could take the chains off. And there was guys putting their chains on, Walmart guy, and guys basically heading the opposite direction, putting their chains on. And I think there was one truck ahead of me that had just pulled out. He just took his chains off. So I took my chains off right there, and then just headed down the hill towards Susanville. The rest of the way to McCarran was great. I mean, the ground has been well maintained and wet, but not snow or ice. So that was a good thing. Got all the way to McCarran. McCarran gave me a load, or I should say the Rock gave me a load out of McCarran to a store in Reno, which I've been to before. It was a meat and produce, and it was 21 pallets, all for that store. It's like 25 miles from the DC. So I'm thinking, all right, I'll go do this, and then come back. I might have a couple hours left to go somewhere, or an hour or something to go somewhere if they give me something. If not, I'll just shut down at the DC. That's okay. And sure enough, they gave me another load. It's a relay load. It's a reefer meat and produce, and I'm relaying this to Sac. So I got out of there, and really I didn't have the time to get over the hill because I-80 is open, but I didn't have time to get over the hill, and so I got to Boomtown. So I'm in Boomtown right now. It's snowy and icy here in the parking lot. So they plowed a bunch of snow, but it's still snowy and icy out on the ground. So obviously they didn't put any salt or anything down to melt it for the truckers. The parking lot for the cars looks a lot more. It looks a little more groomed than where the trucks park. But there's quite a few here. So I'll get up in the morning and I'll slap on the chains from here, I think, and head up. I'm going to look at where the chain controls are. It was still supposed to get some more snow over the next couple days, so we'll see. But last I heard, the chaining requirement was from Truckee to Alta, but you know, and from here to Truckee is probably another 25 miles to get to Truckee, because Boomtown is about 30 miles from the DC, and I think Truckee's about 50 miles or so from the DC. So we're looking at about another 20 miles with chains on. Hey, you know, it is what it is. Or try to get up there. I just got to look what the chain controls are. Good thing is they send us messages and they let us know exactly where the chain controls start and where we should probably think about putting on the chains, because sometimes it gets a little congested in different areas and it's not as advisable to put on the chains there. So just got to be safe out here, right? I mean, you can easily slip and slide and everything else. So this is my safety tip. So on that load that I took to Reno, the Reno store, getting in was okay. It was fine. You come off the main street and then you head down, like a downgrade. But right at the bottom of that downgrade, you got to make a hard right turn. Well, it was still kind of icy and snowy. It wasn't all the way clear on that driveway. So you got to come in slow. You got to be controlled, and you got to go in slow so you don't slide out on the way down. That's number one. Now, number two, you come out the same way. And it's important to think, you know, we were talking, I had some other drivers we were talking, is I don't have my chains on at that point. I took them off. I didn't put them on for this. I didn't expect. The rest of the roads around were clear. Everything else, it was just this driveway. And so for those rookies that are out there driving or watching this, if you're driving a tractor with 2 axles in the back of the tractor, and you have the interlock differential, it's not just a tag trailer or tag axle, lock in that inner axle differential, because, and then when you're coming up, you've got to be very careful that you, one, don't lose your momentum. You want to get us going and keep going, because if you stop at all or slow down, you can easily lose your traction and your wheels can start spinning. So as I was leaving that Reno store, my wheels did start spinning, and the interlock was on, but it still took a bit to get up the hill. And now I would have been blocking the entrance and exit to the Walmart. So luckily, good old girl, she made it up that hill. But you can't panic. If those wheels start to slip, you can't panic. You go easier on the fuel. If the harder you are on the fuel, it's going to make it slip. So you got to be easy on the fuel when you're doing that, and make sure the interlock is engaged, and try to keep the momentum. If you get off the momentum, then you're going to end up slipping. The wheels are going to slip. So be careful out there. All right, guys. All right, so this is Phil from Walmart. Talk to you guys later.